Let's jump right into this subject. Are knife snobs ruining the multi-tool world? Now, why on earth are we talking about this? Well, I think there's two reasons. The first reason is increasingly we are seeing Leatherman skyrocket their prices. $200 now looks almost like a budget line to some extent. The Leatherman Arc, it seems like just keeps going up in price. We have no idea what these new tools coming from Leatherman will be. And then with the Smith blade that has sort of taken the EDC world by storm at the moment, I mean, to raise that much money, 19,000 people backing it, and the tool that probably a lot of people are buying is around $250. What is going on? Is $200 now budget? Is $300 now normal? Are we going to see $600, $800, $1,000 multi-tools? What is going on? Now, the first thing I wanted to consider is I feel like there is this push toward better and better knife blade steel. Now, we heard people talking, it seemed like forever, about Leatherman. Hey, we need a better blade. And so Leatherman said, all right. And they gave us the Leatherman Arc. They gave the EDC World MagnaCut, but it definitely comes at a price, somewhere around that $250 price point. So yes, it has better steel, but there is definitely a price. Now, the argument I'm making is, with this advance toward better and better knife blade steel, the reality is the majority of civilian multi-tool users are not using a multi-tool to escape life and death situations. Now, I didn't say not everyone is. Obviously, if you go camping, even, Yellowstone, on vacation, yes, someone could get lost. Yes, the Leatherman could be the only thing they have. There's all kinds of stories about rock climbers and so forth needing their Leatherman in extreme situations. But I'm saying the majority of people are not encountering life and death situations with their multi-tool. And I think there's the same argument to be made is you can go out and buy a Leatherman Arc for $250 because there might be that one situation where you need it. Or you can make the argument, I guess, the same argument, we all should buy bulletproof vehicles. Are they available? Definitely. You could buy a Mercedes-Benz bulletproof vehicle in the off chance that there would be a shooting or something would happen and you would need the vehicle, right? I mean, in an extreme circumstance, it could come in handy and save your life. But is everyone doing that? Of course not. So I think to some extent there is almost like too much hype around knife blade steel, and everyone, it's almost like it's needful now. People look down on multi-tools if they aren't maybe the latest steel and upgraded. And I think that reality is a little bit different. A lot of people live in areas where you can easily go out to the store and just buy another multi-tool if you needed to. You could go to Walmart, buy an Ozark Trail. You could go to Cabela's or Bass Pro Shop and you could buy another Leatherman. So yeah, a lot of people could do that. And the number one use, I don't know, I haven't done a scientific study, but a lot of the things I hear people talking about, and if I'm to be honest, the number one use I use my multi-tool a lot of times for is like box opening. It's not life and death situations. I don't need a MagnaCut blade to open an Amazon box. That's usually what I'm using it for, is something like box opening. So I think with this continual push toward more and more advanced knife steel, there is a movement in the multi-tool world, the EDC world, where a lot of the normal multi-tools that were good for everyday users are now almost seen as subpar, and you're almost less than. If that's what you carry, you really should carry a better blade steel. And the reality is, for a lot of people, things like the Leatherman Bond are still great. Now, in my job in HVAC, I am around a lot of military personnel in my particular job. And one of the tools, the multi-tools that I see most often is actually the Gerber NXT Suspension. And is this a great blade steel? Absolutely not. But a lot of people, they don't really care. They would prefer to have something that they can afford over something that's crazy expensive on whatever salary they are given. And I think that illustrates how a lot of people feel. They'd rather have something than nothing. A lot of people like the idea of a multi-tool, but this idea of more and more premium material, I don't think it's for the vast majority, definitely for collectors, but for the vast majority, I just don't think it's the way to go. Now, one of the things I keep hearing over and over again, whether it's Leatherman, the Smith blade, other Kickstarter programs, other premium knives, whatever it is, one of the excuses I keep hearing over and over again is, well, the costs have gone up. And that's true. That's just something that we face right now in this economy. The costs have gone up, and the reality is the costs will probably never go back down. We probably will not see a huge reduction in costs. Leatherman probably won't reduce their prices by $50. That's true. But the same thing is true that the cost has gone up, not only to the company, but also costs have gone up to the normal user. And I think that's what people forget. So yes, we can justify that companies need, if you want to use that word, $200, $300, $400, $500 to make these premium multi-tools and knives. I understand that. I understand that there's a lot of cost, but I also understand that on the flip side, the buyers, there is an increasing cost for them as well. So when people used to be able to afford the PST, and maybe that was a little cheaper, and maybe the Leatherman Wave, now with price continually going up, a point where some people, especially with the Leatherman Arc, maybe not so much the Wave, but the Leatherman Arc and some of these more premium brands, people will stop and say, well, I'm not going to just go ahead and buy this. I'm going to think, does this make sense where I'm at? Now, I've mentioned this before, and some of you have kicked back and you said, hey, $250, $300, that's ridiculous. We spend that all the time. Well, maybe you do, but there are different people still in the US, and especially when I took the trip out west, I saw vast areas of the United States where there are not good jobs. There are people living in, like 1-2 bedroom houses. So just because there are a fair amount of people, maybe in the EDC world, that live on the cities, on the edges of the United States, there are still a vast amount of people that are just regular workers that are struggling to make ends meet. When I used to work at Amazon, I regularly heard that there was people that said, I have like $10 in my bank account. And that was a couple years ago. But I mean, that was one guy, he said essentially he had to figure out whether to repair his house or go on a family vacation. He decided to go on a family vacation. In those instances, some of these things like a Leatherman Arc or some of these Kickstarter programs, they definitely become a luxury. They don't become a need. So what I'm trying to say with these dramatic stories is that there is a group of people who the Leatherman Arc and some of these more luxurious products, it's not for them. And so I think as a community, I would love to have everyone welcome. I would love to have people who like the Leatherman Arc welcome, people who want better blade steel, but also people who are excited about cheap tools. And so that's some of the reason why, as an HVAC budget channel, I keep reviewing Chinese-made multi-tools. I keep reviewing new tools that come on AliExpress because I want there to be tools for everyone. Now, one of the things that perhaps in the EDC world we fail to mention, I think this is one of the big things, is that one of the best value tools you can ever get is go on eBay or go to your flea market or wherever you can buy used tools and get some of these tools from the 90s. Try out the SOG Power Plier from somewhere around the 90s. Try out the forerunner to the Gerber MP 600. Try the Leatherman PST. Some of these are tools that people have kept around for years and years and years. Maybe you'll find it in your grandfather's drawer, your father's drawer, whatever it is, but some of these tools have far more value than even the new tools hot off the presses because they are made with better materials, especially the Gerber. It actually has a Made in USA file on it, which is pretty special, and even SOG had a pretty neat setup when it started out. And you can find videos on my channel about these older tools if you look them up, but they are definitely something to think about. And this one right here is actually a Paladin tool, but it's similar to, or it looks a little bit similar to the Power Pliers, which was one of SOG's earlier tools. Very, very cool, and tools that you need to check out are these old tools. While the new ones are exciting, some of these old ones are your most reliable and the best value you will, at least for the moment, ever find. Now, the third part of this rant, or whatever you call this, is that rising prices sort of close the gate to a lot of the trades and normal non-EDC people who will just eventually buy something else. Now, in the trades, again, I'm in HVAC. This is probably the closest thing to what I see a multi-tool in our world. So a lot of people do carry this, the Milwaukee Fastback with the bit driver and the utility knife. That's fairly popular. A lot of people really like that, and that's seen almost as very new and innovative in the world because, yeah, in the HVAC world, in the trade world, tools don't just pop on the scene. That usually you're using tools that have been around for a while. Now, for non-EDC people, I think of these new knives from the Ozark Trail, the new knives, the D2, and then this one that I just picked up at Walmart. This seems to be the new one, the 14C28N. This one right here, it's very similar to the orange Ozark Trail, but it has the look of titanium coated blade, even though I'm pretty sure it's not. And then these aluminum handles. It's very nice, very smooth. $10, $20. These are the tools that people are going to pick up because they're there. While I was at Walmart, I saw a SOG Power Pint for 20 bucks marked down. I almost bought it myself. I have two Power Pints and I have this Power Leader, but yeah, people are going to pick up what they can afford, what they see, and maybe eventually they'll buy something a little bit more upscale. But if Leatherman wonders where everyone has gone, I know there are rising costs, but I think just like Victorinox has spent millions of dollars probably investing in new machinery from what I've heard to keep the costs down, a lot of the innovation at some of these companies maybe needs to go back into how can we mass produce better? How can we keep the costs down? What can we do? How can we make excitement with a simpler tool? And there's got to be a way to do that. Now, I do believe that people like Roxxon and Decoyu and Nextool are really trying to make the tools that no one else is making. So there are different people that want modular. They've wanted modular tools forever, and now Roxxon is sort of taking the lead with that. Decoyu is making a lot of cool tools that I'll be reviewing coming up. And Nextool, with this Pioneer, yes, is a little bit more expensive, but definitely nothing compared to the Leatherman Arc. It was on sale just recently for about 80 bucks, and you have pliers and you have these emergency shears, all kinds of really cool tools in this package. I feel like Nextool is doing an outstanding job, especially with their W4 wrench. So let me know in the comments below how you feel about all this. Is this continual push for more luxury material, more titanium, better blade steel actually ruining the EDC community, or is it just another part that the collectors are thriving on and everyone's doing great and more companies are able to open up? I don't know. Let me know what you think, and I'll be interested to be reading your comments below.